Once upon a time, in a small village, there was a girl named Snow White. She was kind and sweet. Her skin was as white as snow. Snow White lived with her stepmother. Her stepmother was mean and jealous. She had a magic mirror. One day, the mirror said, "Snow White is the fairest now." The stepmother was angry. She told a hunter to take Snow White to the woods. The hunter took Snow White, but he could not hurt her. He let her go, and she ran deep into the woods. Snow White found a little house. Inside the house, there were 7 beds. She was tired, so she slept in one of the beds. The house belonged to 7 dwarfs. They came home and saw Snow White. They let her stay. The dwarfs were kind and hard-working. They worked in a mine, finding jewels. They loved Snow White, and she loved them too. Snow White helped the dwarfs in the house. She cooked and cleaned for them. Together they lived happily. The stepmother asked the mirror again, "Who is the fairest?" The mirror said, "Snow White is still the fairest." The stepmother was very angry. She made a plan to hurt Snow White. She dressed as an old woman and gave Snow White a poisoned apple. Snow White took a bite and she fell asleep. The dwarfs were sad and did not know what to do. The dwarfs put Snow White in a glass coffin. They cried and watched over her. They hoped for a miracle to save her. One day, a prince came to the woods. He saw Snow White and kissed her. The kiss broke the spell, and Snow White woke up. The prince and Snow White got married. They lived happily ever after. The stepmother was never happy again. The dwarfs were invited to the wedding. They danced and celebrated with Snow White. They were glad to see her happy. After reading this story, we learn that kindness and love always win. Let's be like Snow White and choose kindness and love over jealousy and anger. This way, we can create a happier world for everyone.